Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. We are going to be talking about taillights yet again in this video. We're going to be actually installing some new ones. Now, it's kind of new, but at the same time, it's kind of old. And I'll tell you why in a second. But over the years, I have tried many styles, different brands of taillights, tried them out on the car, demoed them, reviewed them, showed them off and everything. And ultimately, what it led me to believe was that I just enjoyed the OEM look taillight more than anything. I did love the SuperSpeed V2s. I honestly think that is the best looking aftermarket taillight. But in the end, it's still not OEM. There's some things that I wasn't crazy about. And in my conclusion of my taillight review video, basically I was saying I wish there was this one taillight. It was basically a combination of 3 different taillights. And then I kind of was thinking, I was like, hey, I honestly think the best looking one was the OEM one that I ran that I modified. If you guys don't know, many years ago, I actually had an OEM set modified, basically cut out the lens, took all the chrome housing out on the inside, painted everything a gloss black, put them back together. And what that actually did, it was to give it a very nice, deep, dark cherry look. I'm not a big fan of taillights that are just all black and smoked out. It looks a little funky to me. It looks a little out of place. It can look cool on certain cars, but it's just not for me. So what I personally like is a taillight that is red, but it's on the darker side. I like taillights that are a little bit more deeper red, a little bit more cherry red, as I call it, as opposed to a bright, vibrant red. So as you can see, these things stand out like crazy. And then if we go over to our Telluride, these are kind of blacked out on the inside. So to me, it just looks much cleaner, much nicer. It's not as in your face and popping out like that. It still looks good overall, but I just don't think it looks great on the STI and WRX. If you notice on a lot of new modern BMWs, Audis, even Volkswagen, they kind of do the same thing that the Telluride has done over here, which is basically blacking it out on the inside. So it looks like a nice, deep, dark cherry red. And personally, I just think it looks better. It looks more modern. It looks cleaner. And the really bright, vibrant red that comes on these cars, it's just a little too much for me. So with saying that, pretty funny story. Actually, it's a really cool story. I ended up selling my OEM Plus taillights that I had on the car many years ago, about 2 years ago. I sold them to a subscriber, somebody that follows me and watches me. They put them on his car. It looked awesome. We stayed in touch over the years. And then I put a video out at the beginning of the year, basically going over all the modifications that I'm gonna be doing on the STI for version 2, just literally going down my list, telling you everything that I plan on doing. And then shortly after that video, that same guy, his name is Sean, reached back out to me, who bought my OEM taillights that were modified and was like, hey, I'm thinking about letting these go. Do you want them? And I was like, absolutely. And there they are. So I ended up getting back my OEM set of taillights that were modified, exactly what I planned on doing with these. So it just worked out perfectly. Now Sean, the guy that I sold them to and used them for the last year and a half, 2 years, he's like me. He has a very similar mindset where he keeps everything very clean. He's very meticulous. So I had no worries that they were in still great shape, if not better shape than when I had them. And sure enough, they are in absolutely beautiful shape. When I took them out of the box, I was like, man, these things look awesome. I forgot how good these look. I'm looking at them right now. So let's go ahead and let's take a look, go over the details and explain exactly how they're modified. All right, so here they are. Kind of hard to tell. I mean, you can tell that they are darker, but when I hold them up next to the stock taillights, you're going to see just how much better these actually look. So these taillights are off a 2020 STI. I got these off a subscriber. They were completely stock, and I wanted a second set just to modify, so if anything were to happen, I still have my stock tails, and I wouldn't be tailless. So I ended up getting a second set. They were in perfect shape. And what you actually need to do, this is very different than headlights. Headlights are a little bit different where you can put them in the oven or heat them up to soften up the actual glue, the sealant, and then pull the lenses off. Taillights are different. They're completely sealed shut. You cannot do that. You literally have to cut them open. So if we look on the back side of these, you can barely see that seam of sealant around there. So basically what you need to do is cut off the lens, and then you take out all of the components, all the housings on the inside. I'll throw up some pictures of everything being done and all the chrome pieces laying on the ground, being painted and everything. and then you put them back together, you seal them back up, and you are good to go. So if you can kind of tell on the clear section here where the blinker is and the reverse light, it is all blacked out as well. Anything chrome on the inside is blacked out. Obviously, we left the reflector as well as the little light in here. We didn't paint that because obviously you don't want to do that. So it's still functional. It's still an OEM looking taillight. It still functions the same way as OEM, but it's just a nice dark cherry red. So if we bring this taillight over to the stock taillight, you can see just how much better and how much different this looks. Now this is gonna be hard to hold and show you, but there is the difference. As you can tell, that is just a really, really bright, vibrant red, which looks nice, but it's just not my taste. And these are a nice dark cherry smoked look without sacrificing the light and using film or tint or anything like that. This is the way that you should do it if you ever want to black out your taillights or tint them or anything. This is the proper way to do it. So another thing that I actually did on these taillights was a few other modifications. I actually ran the diode dynamic tail as turn module. Basically just plug that in, and the little C light over here turns into the blinker as opposed to in here. I also had some LED bulbs for the reverse light, since the diode dynamic module turns this all into a reverse light. I don't have them today. They are on my list of all the things that I want to do for version 2. Still getting that list together, actually working with a vendor. So we're kind of getting everything all set and sealed. So once that is finalized, that will all come in and we'll be able to add more stuff to these taillights. But super cool story. I'm so happy that I was able to get these back and I didn't have to remodify my stock taillights. Now I got 2 sets, so it's always good to have the stock set on hand. And knowing that these were on the car already and this is my original set, I thought that was pretty cool to get these back, because that doesn't happen very often. So huge shout out to Sean for selling these back to me and also keeping these in fantastic shape. Honestly, like I said, these are in better shape or better looking than I ever remember. Now, what we're actually gonna do, this is one of the worst things about owning a car that is extremely loud, is that I gotta start this up and back it into the garage so we can work on these so we get some good lighting and you guys can see what I'm doing, because there's not much room to work behind here with the garage door. So I'm gonna go ahead, start this up, turn the car around, and then we can get to installing the new old taillights on the STI. Yourself, if your car was loud, started at nighttime when everybody's sleeping, then you'll know just how loud your car actually is. All right, so as you can see, here are the stock taillights. They look good. I like how they light up. I think they really obviously fit the car very well. It flows with the headlights, with the C light and everything. So the OEM look, honestly, I think looks best. And having these, so now we can get a little bit better idea, but having these on the car is just gonna look so much better and really clean up the look. And I absolutely love these. Man, I have no idea why I let these things go years and years ago, but thankfully, as I mentioned, Sean hung on to them, kept them in great shape. And also the really cool thing is he kept it in the original box that I shipped it to him in. So it was even better. All the packaging and everything was the same. It was pretty insane. That doesn't happen very often. And also, it has been a while since I've seen this car backed in like this. And it's so funny how much better or how much different a car can look just when it's parked a little bit differently. So, all right, enough rattling. Let's go ahead and let's get started on the taillights. Really simple. I've done several videos on how to install taillights, but I'll show you once again since it's pretty straightforward, and then we can do a little bit of comparison. But I'm gonna let the garage heat up a little bit, turn the heater on. It's only 48 in here, and I've got shorts on, so pretty cold. But I'm gonna wait a little bit, let the garage heat up since I opened the door, and we can get cracking on the install. All right, so to remove the taillights, very, very simple. Simply just going to pop the trunk, and then we're gonna come out back, and we're gonna have to remove the liner. Again, very, very simple. I am running the kicker subwoofer, so it's a little bit different, but basically there's gonna be a pin here, and then a pin right up there. Remove those, and then you can peel back the liner. On this side, it's the same thing. There is a pin right there. And then another one up top right there that you're gonna remove and you can peel back. There's three, I believe 8 or 10 millimeters to remove off the back of taillight. Unplug it, slides out, then you just do everything in reverse order. I'll show you on camera, but I figured I would explain it before we start getting into it. And yeah, so this is the last look of the car with the OEM vibrant red taillights before we get those on. So let's get cracking. So before we get them on the car, I figured this was a good comparison side by side. You can really see the differences. So how much vibrant red that is and chromy and shiny. Whereas this is nice and kind of smoked, a really dark cherry red is what I say. And also the intersection here is blacked out. So really, really nice. You guys notice the red ring around here? That's only because the lens, as you can see, hangs off on the actual backing. So that is why it's red and that's why it's not blacked out. But once you put it on the car, the color of the car blends that in, you don't even see it. So it's kind of the same thing on here. If you notice on the back, it's the same thing. It's an OEM taillight, so there's no change. One thing I got to do on these is the way that I sold them without the little harness on the back, the wiring. So all I'm going to do is pull it off of here. Really simple. You just unplug everything and just pull it out, and then you can plug them right back in there. So again, we're going to modify these and do all the diodynamic tailless turn module and everything once I get them in, and then we can get them looking good. But for now, I'm going to have to use the stock bulbs, the yellow bulbs, so it's not going to look as good as it will. I'm dying to see what it looks like, and I've missed these things a lot, so let's go ahead and put them on, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so installed. Sorry for the noise, the heater's right behind me, but man, that looks so good. So it really darkens up the exterior, or at least the rear of it, and it just flows so much better. I mean, look how much better the overall tail looks on the actual paint as opposed to, you know, the really bright vibrant red. As you can see over here, it's it just stands out too much. And also, as I mentioned, you know, remember the red ring around there? You can't see the ring at all because it blends in with the actual paint, and you know, it's perfect and looks really good. But man, oh man, I am glad to have these back. So what I did on the last time I ran these was I put the film over the clear part here just so it hides the bulbs better. But I'm not going to do that right now, simply because they're just the normal incandescent bulbs, and I want people to be able to see it. And if I put the film on there, it will definitely diminish the output of my reverse light and my blinker. So I'm going to leave that be. But once I get some LEDs in there, because they stand out a little bit more, since they are the actual socket of the bulb is white usually, and it stands out a lot. So that's the main reason why I put the film on. So we'll see when we get there. But the trunk is open. I didn't close all the way, so that's why there's a bigger gap. But I mean, obviously it fits just like OEM because it is OEM, but looks so good. So much happier with that look. So let's just turn them on. Not that you guys don't know what a stock taillight looks like when it's on, but figured I'll just show you. But there is the taillight lit up. We'll turn the blinkers on so you guys can see. Again, nothing new, but we'll do it anyway. Turn the little blinker on. So there we go. There's the blinker blinking. And that's the reverse light that, you know, it's just like ugly incandescent bulbs, so it's nothing fancy. But oh man, I'm happy to have these things back. I never thought I would see them again, so having them back on the car is pretty cool. Especially for the whole version 2 of the STI. All right, so we got this side done. I still need to do the passenger side, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Probably do it off camera just because it's the exact same thing. As you can see over here, you can really see the difference between the two. Just so much better, like so much more aggressive. I know I said it 1,000 times, but it's just one of those things that it just looks right, and I'm happy that I was able to get them back. So, all right, let me knock this side out, and then I'll show you the final look. All right, guys, so we finished it up. We got the passenger side installed. Looks exactly the same as the driver's side. Everything works as it should, and I'm really, really thrilled with this look. Just want to give a huge shout out to Sean for holding on to them, taking care of them, babysitting them for the last 1.5 to 2 years, and returning them to me after all this time in perfect shape, just as I remember them, even better than I remember, to be completely honest. They look so good, honestly. I'm really, really thrilled with the overall look. It just flows so much better. Plus, it's OEM, so you don't have to worry about all the warranty issues and dead LEDs and stuff over time like the aftermarket ones. And I'm just going to say this real quick. No, I'm not offering this work to anybody else, so please don't ask. But if you do plan on doing it yourself, I highly recommend picking up another set of stock taillights just so you can practice. Whether you can pick them up on eBay or Marketplace or something, they're relatively cheap. You can get a set of stock tails for like 150, 200 bucks or so. The hardest part obviously is cutting off the actual lens. And then once you get that off, everything is fairly simple. You just got to paint everything and let it dry obviously, and then put it all back together and then just seal it up. But overall, I think it is worth it since you get such a good look and it just flows with the car so much better. And I just honestly think it is the best option out there, including all the aftermarket taillights. And then once I get the diodynamic tailless turn module in there with the LED bulbs in there, it just really, really completes it and makes it look that much better. So that is going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I've done a ton of taillight installs before, but I figured I would show you this one because this one is special and is a pretty cool story. So I do plan on getting the Recaro Sportster GTs back in the STI, maybe in the next video or next week, depending on how much time I have. We should be getting them back in the car very soon. Pretty simple install. I've done it before on video. But I plan on making another video, getting everything back in and kind of starting on this whole V2 process of the STI. Yes, I will be updating you guys very, very shortly on what is going on, what my plans are, obviously, because I know a lot of you are saying, oh, I thought he was going to sell the STI and all that. So I'm going to update you guys very, very soon on that, let you know where we're going and what's kind of happening. But as for this one, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.